every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power!
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and White House correspondent. I am in touch, and so guess what? Tag your at you be in touch. You can follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Friendly reminder, it's Juneteenth Eve, and you know what that means? It means that our KBLA anniversary is just around the corner. So, what does that mean for you? It means that if you're planning on joining us for our 4th anniversary celebration and barbecue on the Juneteenth holiday, we're asking everyone to bring a food gift card of any amount for the victims of the Altadena fire, whether it's a grocery store chain gift card or a restaurant gift card, anything you have. We're grateful for whatever you bring to help the families that have been displaced by the wildfire. So go to our KBLA1580.com website right now and sign up for the events that you plan to attend. All of our anniversary events are free, but seating is limited. So go ahead and get registered. Now, with that, it is time for your National News Roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. And kicking us off, USA Today is reporting that the FDA has approved new twice-yearly HIV shot. Now, here's what to know. The Food and Drug Administration today approved Gilead's HIV prevention drug, lenacapavir. I think I got that right. It's a twice-a-year injectable medication that clinical trial shows prevents new infections. Gilead did not immediately say how much it will charge for the biannual shot, but company officials say it would be comparable to existing HIV prevention drugs. The drug will be marketed under the same name, or under the name Yeztugo. I think I got that right. Advocates say the long-acting medication is promising because it's more convenient than existing HIV prevention drugs that must be taken daily. Giving people the option of a twice-a-year injectable is a game changer, not only for the United States, but around the world. You don't have to take my word for it. That's what Carl Schmid, the executive director of the HIV plus Hepatitis Policy Institute, has said. Gilead officials celebrated the FDA's approval of lenacapavir, which has been studied and developed over nearly 2 decades. 2 decades. And so, in case you're wondering, how does lenacapavir compare to other HIV prevention drugs? Well, PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis medications, are sold as a daily pill under the brand name Truvada and Descovy, as well as generic versions. And another injectable medication, Apretude, is taken every 2 months after 2 initial shots taken 1 month apart. And so this is a big deal. This is a big deal. As long as I have been alive, there have been folks that have been raising money and raising awareness, and there have been researchers working really hard to do their best to find a cure, to find therapies to prevent HIV and treat HIV. And this is a major, major breakthrough. And so major salute to all the researchers and all the advocates and activists who've had a hand in bringing us to this moment. Moving along, the NAACP, guess what? They won't be inviting Trump to its national convention, breaking a 116-year tradition. NPR reporting that the NAACP announced it will not invite President Trump to its national convention in July. The civil rights organization is breaking from this 116-year tradition, welcoming the sitting U.S. president to the annual event that draws NAACP supporters from around the country. The group says that Trump is the first president it has declined to invite. NAACP President and CEO Derek Johnson made the announcement just this past Monday at a news conference in Charlotte, North Carolina, where the convention is scheduled to be held. The group also shared a statement from Johnson saying, quote, Donald Trump is attacking our democracy and our civil rights. The president has signed unconstitutional executive orders to oppress voters and undo federal civil rights protections. President Johnson went on to say he continually undermines every pillar of our democracy to make himself more powerful and to personally benefit from the U.S. government. And so you get no love from the NAACP this year. Finally, ex-Loretto Hospital CFO has been hit with new charges alleging a massive $290 million COVID testing fraud scheme. The Chicago Tribune reporting that a former top executive of Loretto Hospital on Chicago's west side has been charged in a massive $290 million fraud scheme that allegedly used stolen patient data to bill nearly $1 billion worth of bogus COVID-19 tests for purportedly uninsured patients at the height of the pandemic. In this 48-page indictment that was unsealed in the U.S. District Court on Tuesday, it marked the latest and largest fraud scheme involving the small West Side safety net hospital that became a lightning rod of controversy during the COVID pandemic for administering vaccinations to connected insiders and paying millions in contracts to companies with close ties to facility administrators. When we come forward, we are shifting gears. I'm looking forward to welcoming Gabby Goodwin. She is a young author that is now a newly minted graduate preparing to go to Vanderbilt. You don't want to miss her story, and you definitely want to pick up her book. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this.
Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat. On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is Resilience in the Face of Chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
We love you. Love you.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PUSH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PUSH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PUSH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter
to listen to this song at any hour of any day. Rest in peace, Whitney Elizabeth Houston. Of course, that is the greatest love of all. One of the greatest to ever step to a mic, reminding us that children are the future. And it's on all of us to teach them well and let them lead the way. I'm so delighted to be in conversation with one of the kiddos that is doing quite well. She's a powerful demonstration of exactly that. Gabby Goodwin, a teen entrepreneur. She's an inventor. She's a speaker, and she's with us today. She's the CEO of Confidence, and her debut book, Naturally Me at the Confidence Salon, it came out just yesterday, May 27th, the same week that she graduated from high school. Congratulations, Gabby.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me on.
So talk to us about, what inspired you to really blaze a trail. I mean, there's a lot of kids, that are doing a lot of kid stuff. And for some reason, you were interested in doing adult stuff like building a business. Where'd that come from? How'd that happen?
Yeah, it really just came from a need and me having a problem. I invented the Gabby bow, which is a patented barrette that doesn't fall out of the hair, double face, double snap. Really just out of the fact that I kept losing barrettes and I kept getting in trouble for it. So my mom would spend 15, 20 minutes doing my hair every morning, drop me off at preschool, kindergarten, looking all nice, and then pick me up to find that half of my bows were gone and that my hair was a complete mess. And so this was every day, every school day. And this has not just been my problem, but it's been a generational problem. My mom lost barrettes, my grandma lost barrettes. So it's really just the wasting of the time and then also the money constantly having to replace those barrettes, which was a big problem in our household. And what I really wanted to do was not just really sit behind and continue to go through the problem, but really work to find a solution, not necessarily start a business at all. But with the 2 years of us going through just creating a bow or just sitting down at the kitchen table thinking about something that we could create, that led us into creating Gabby Bows, which is now known as Confidence, which was in 2014. So we've been in business for 11 years now.
That is incredible. And, you know, it's also very much steeped in the culture, right? I think there are a lot of our leaders, learners, and listeners, particularly Black women and girls who can relate to this story.
Right.
And so talk to us about what gave you the confidence to take this lived experience you have as a Black girl with your Black mama and said, you know what, not only should I invent a product, but I think there is an opportunity to tell this story and ensure that this story lives on forever on the page.
Right. It definitely took a lot of me building my confidence. I started really shy, and I really timid, didn't want to talk to people I didn't know. And that did not help me when trying to start a business and market my product. But I always knew that I wanted to inspire people, especially girls who look like me, who went through the same problems as I did. And I knew that I wanted to be able to make a difference. And I didn't necessarily know how until this idea of creating some sort of a barrette, which is now known as the Gabby bow, was able to come into fruition. So that's really just the faith that I have, my family has, being able to use our experiences, use the people around us to help test the product and to help really create something that was not just for me, but was for so many other people to be able to benefit off of and save time, save money. And so it's definitely been a way for me to grow in my confidence as well as a public speaker, as a person, as a Black girl. Being able to share my experiences with so many different people has allowed me to really grow into myself and allowed me to also be able to have opportunities like writing a book and being able to share my story there as well.
So where do you go from here? I mean, we know that this week you graduated from high school, and again, congratulations on graduating from high school. What's next for you?
Yes, so I actually graduate tomorrow morning at 8. Well, 8 Eastern.
Excuse me.
So that's in the immediate future. But I will be attending Vanderbilt University for the next 4 years as an Ingram Scholar, which I'm super thankful for. So I'll be studying economics and mathematics with minors in business and data science. So that is my next journey, trying to study concentrations of business analytics and working to kind of move into service-based entrepreneurship and being able to create services for entrepreneurs to really know the importance of their numbers and their data, because math is my favorite subject. So being able to put those two together is great. And then obviously being able to go around and finally talk about the book. Naturally, being at the Confidence Salon has been a year and a half in the making, but now we're able to really go out and do book tours and all these events and things like that. And also we will be launching in Claire stores coming this fall as well. So there's a lot to be excited for over these next few years.
Wow. I'm just like, so what's coming up? What's coming around the corner? Thinking, okay, we're going to go on a family vacation or something like that. No, she's like, I'm just going to Vanderbilt in the fall. Yeah. I'm just majoring in, economics and mathematics and all the things. I just think that is so wonderful that you had this experience as a kid that really gave you the confidence and trained you in the nuts and bolts of becoming an entrepreneur. And so now for you going to college and studying math, studying economics, among other things, it's really about doing what you've been doing, but taking it to the next level.
Right. Exactly. That's something I'm really excited about as well, being able to learn more. Obviously, I've had experiential learning, but being able to be in a classroom with business professors or people who actually know the nuts and bolts of the things that I want to get into is super exciting for me.
And so what's your message to some of the parents out there that, say, hey, you have the rest of your life to work. You have the rest of your life to start a business. From 0 to 18, I just want you to be a kid. Focus on being a kid. It seems to me that your parents might have struck a balance between those different schools of thought. Just be a kid versus, hey, challenge yourself. What's your message to parents out there that aren't so sure how hard to push, if at all, when it comes to introducing their kids to the principles, the nuts and bolts of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it's definitely key to listen to your children. Don't strike down their dreams as soon as they may say them. Because as children, we have such big ideas, big minds. We're not necessarily introduced to all the things of the all the things that may come in the world later on. So it's a lot of big ideas. So don't diminish those big ideas. Allow them to dream big, allow them to have that confidence that they can achieve whatever they want to achieve, obviously within reason. But I would have never thought that me just having an idea to create something would create this entire business journey for me. So what I would say is to listen to what your children are constantly thinking about, what they're constantly asking you about. What I was asking my mom every day was, are we going to make a bow? Are we going to be able to make this product? Are we going to solve this problem? Because she really, just out of frustration, I saw her frustration. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to create a product that can help her. So listen to your children if they're interested in sports or if they're interested in art. Listen to them, watch what they're prioritizing, watch their passions, and lead them in that way. So push where they lead on, honestly. It's really just watching your children, looking at what they're interested in, what they're putting themselves into, not necessarily asking you about, but then also don't be afraid of rejection for them. I know sometimes we may live in a world now where everybody gets a trophy or a prize, but it's super important for me as an entrepreneur. I've been able to learn about resilience because of all the rejections I faced from an early age. So don't shield your children from rejection. Know that it will be able to prepare them for a better future in the long run, not necessarily entrepreneurship, if that's not what your child is into, but college decisions and all the things that come with school and teams. Being able to have a sense of resilience and confidence in yourself at a young age is super important when dealing with rejection, and that helps you among your peers. So don't be scared of that. I always say that for me, this is a quote that I came up with, which is no is just an abbreviation for next opportunity. So after one no, two no's, however many no's your children get or how you get, whatever they may be doing or whatever they may be pursuing, don't let that discourage you from continuing to push them and continuing to move them forward, because you have the keys, you have the resources to allow them to achieve whatever they do and have that confidence in them first so they can be confident in themselves.
I really love that. I think that's very easy to remember. No as an abbreviation for next opportunity.
Yes,
and
sir.
Clearly there are no shortage of opportunities for Gabby Goodwin. Gabby, in our remaining minutes with you, I've got to ask you about sort of the higher education landscape out there. I'm sure that somebody as brilliant as you are has had quite a number of schools to choose from.
Right.
In terms of, where you would go next to study economics and mathematics and really step your entrepreneurship game up. Were there any considerations that you and your family made, given, in some cases, very hostile climate on college campuses across the country for folks from diverse communities? Were there any special considerations you made that were instructive to your decision to choose Vanderbilt over, I'm sure, a number of other colleges and universities?
Yes, definitely keeping that in mind and being able to find the environment that felt right for me as a person. Obviously, I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be the authentic person that I've grown up to be. And so being able to find groups or schools that have groups that I could really be my authentic, diverse self in, or just really being able to be authentic is a key thing for me. For me, what the main consideration was that I didn't want to pay to go to college. Like, I don't want to pay to go to college. So that was the main thing for me, is whatever college I'm going to, that's the college that's going to give me the most money, or whatever college gives me the most money, I'm going to follow that, because my parents have given me so much over these past 11 years and sacrificed so much that I wanted to be able to give back to them. I mean, I have to worry about how to pay for college, the climate that may shift the way that we pay for college and federal funding and things of that nature. Like, I didn't want to think about any of that. Like, I was like, I want to go for the full rides. And so being able to say that I've gotten into 8 schools over this past process, but I got 4 full rides out of those 8 schools, which is amazing. And one of them was Vanderbilt. But really what the thing was what would give me a group, what would give me an environment where I could feel safe, where I could be able to achieve all that I want to and have the opportunities to do so, but really not have to pay for it. So that was the main consideration for us as a family. Obviously, my family just wants the best for me continuously, and they're supporting me whatever way they supported me, and they continue to support me in whichever way that I go. But really noticing that, I think that was one of the main considerations that I had in terms of the college admissions process.
Well, while a lot of high school seniors out there have been focused on college applications and prom and graduation, our teen entrepreneur here has been focused on this book that I'm sure is going to be a bestseller. It's called Naturally Me at the Confidence Salon. Yes. Be sure to go out there and pick it up wherever books are sold. And the best of luck to you. The best of luck.
Thank you.
Blessings to you, Gabby Goodwin. You are living out the words of Whitney Elizabeth Houston. Teach them well, let them lead the way. Your parents have taught you well, and Vanderbilt will too.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. The Trump administration is sending 2,000 more National Guard troops to Los Angeles.
Given that we are a city of immigrants and immigrants from all countries, anybody is subject to being detained, and that's why it's created a pall over the city of fear.
Black Mayor Karen Bass questioned the move, while Governor Gavin Newsom slammed it as political theater, saying the troops were pulled from vital wildfire duties. Opal Lee, the 98-year-old known as the grandmother of Juneteenth, will miss her annual Walk for Freedom in Fort Worth, Texas due to health issues. She was hospitalized last month but is now recovering at home. And Virginia is adding 9 new sites to the state landmarks register. They include Staunton's Fairview Cemetery, one of the city's only documented black cemeteries, and Roanoke's Lucy Addison High School, the first high school built for black students there in 1928. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Indiana Pacers have a major injury concern heading into a must-win situation for Game 6 Thursday night in the NBA Finals. Point guard Tyrese Halliburton has a strained right calf. The Pacers aren't sure if he'll be able to play. Halliburton labored through the pain in the Pacers' loss in Game 5 at Oklahoma City. He was 0 for 6 in shot attempts in 36 minutes and finished with only 4 points. all from the free throw line. OKC has a 3-2 lead in the best-of-7 finals. The LA Sparks continue to struggle. They were blown out at home Tuesday night by Seattle, a 31-point loss. At 4-9, the Sparks are one of 7 WNBA teams below 500. 3 HBCU baseball players were invited to this week's Major League Baseball Draft Combine in Phoenix. Infielder Juan Cruz of Alabama State, Florida A&M catcher Brody Popo, and Southern University outfielder Cardell Thibodeau. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Here come the drums.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey.
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me!
National news of consequence, informed opinion,
and analysis beyond the headlines.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host, and I'm really delighted to welcome my friend, my sister, a very dynamic leader, Adjoa Shermatin. She is the president of the Ghana Diaspora Public Affairs Collective, and she's joining us from Washington, D.C., where just today the African Diaspora Investment Symposium began. She is one of the speakers there. I thought so important to have her here a week after the South African president visited the White House to give her reaction to that and to share with us what she's hearing from leaders across the diaspora, where we know investment in the continent, investment across the diaspora is said to be on shaky ground. Adjoa, thank you for joining us.
It's good to be here. How are you?
I'm well. It's great to have you here. It's always great to be in your company. And what I love about being in your company is you always have a way of making things make sense. And that's what we like to do on this show. We like to get smarter. And so with that, I want to give you an opportunity to just sort of reset the table. Last Wednesday at the White House, we saw the South African president meet with President Trump, a number of things on that agenda, including trade, including the African Growth and Opportunity Act. There are some folks that said that there was a bilateral agreement between South Africa and the United States that was being talked about. Set the table for us in terms of what was supposed to happen and what actually happened following that White House visit.
Well, unfortunately, it was very much a missed opportunity for South Africa and Africa as a whole, as well as the diaspora. It's so interesting. A week later, we continue to talk about this interview and this encounter with South Africa's president at the White House. And we're hearing a lot of defense from the South African team saying that they fully expected President Trump to basically surprise them or try to surprise them by confronting them with these baseless accusations. However, it doesn't appear that they were prepared. And a good example is just looking at President Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, and how he handled his visit to the White House, where he also was, surprised, if you will, by President Trump's attempts to control the narrative. The difference is that President Zelensky made sure to meet with senators, made sure to meet with members of Congress outside of the White House, made sure to meet with the Ukrainian American community before the White House visit. He made sure to have his own interviews with American media set up so that he can make sure that he's getting across his message, that he's in control of the narrative, that he's making very clear what his ask is. The South African president should have done the same. And it's really a story of caution for other African presidents as they engage this administration, is that we must not look at the White House as the only game in town. Okay, there are senators that they could be engaging with, members of Congress. And I also struck by the fact that if we're looking at trade deals, if we're looking at how can we continue to sustain the essence of AGOA, we don't have to put all of our eggs in one basket with trying to make deals happen with just the federal government. There are some state economies that are almost just as large as country economies, right? Looking at the state of California, for example, and we see that Governor Gavin Newsom has even laid out the call. Hey, come and visit me, sit down with me. Presidents should be thinking about that and sitting down at the state level as well to make deals.
I mean, I'm so glad that you brought that up because, one of the questions that I had for the South African president was around his conversations with the Congressional Black Caucus. We've never had a larger Congressional Black Caucus in the history of the Congress. And as you know, and many of our leaders, learners, and listeners know, the Congressional Black Caucus and the relationship with South Africa runs very deep. Right. CBC was a very loud voice, very much out front in support of the movement against apartheid. Right. And so it was surprising to me that the Congressional Black Caucus didn't have any visible meetings, talking to folks that are part of that delegation. It didn't seem like there's any meaningful engagement with the CBC.
Yeah, and who's to blame for that, right? I would say the blame could be placed on both sides. African governments must make their own connections and be engaging with the Congressional Black Caucus, right? We know, for example, Ghana definitely does that on a regular basis. But what has been the strategy for other African governments? And does there need to be more of a sustainable policy in place of which that engagement can happen. But also, members of Congress need to be aware of when, African governments or countries are visiting, and also proactively reach out. And they can do that through the diaspora community as well, because certainly when our African counterparts are visiting the States, they do tend to notify the local embassy, right? And the embassy has the ability to notify the diaspora community. And so this is where, the South African president could have had a speech set up at Howard University, tapping into the Pan-African sentiment and talking about, well, for example, why are we even having this discussion of racial discrimination in South Africa, given America's history? Who is America to be able to even have that moral ground to stand on in the first place, right? And completely just recenter the conversation about what is the current reality and state of things. The state of things is that America needs to stand on solid ground as a global leader. And that includes having a strong relationship with Africa. And these sort of engagements hurt that standing, because at the end of the day, when we're talking about this fight between geopolitical players, China, Russia, and the United States, China and Russia's stance in Africa grows stronger by the day. And it's going stronger not because of strong trade deals, but how the people are being treated and talked to, how presidents are being engaged. And so we're starting to say we're going to completely walk back soft diplomacy. We're going to completely walk back economic engagement and really not have a serious strategy in place as the United States. Then what is left to protect our position on this continent that includes to have the youngest population in the world, the fastest growing population in the world, that continues to have the fastest growing economies, and where hundreds and hundreds of U.S. businesses currently reside?
I mean, you over there, you laid it down. I mean, that is what is at stake. And folks are not going to sit around and wait for America to catch up. Right. And so, this is the kind of thing that, okay, well, in 4 years, in the next election, if we elect a Democrat, we can course correct. No. There are a number of global players that will continue to grow in power, grow in standing, and quite frankly, grow their trust with leaders across the continent, across the diaspora, while America sort of divests and sits on the sidelines. When we come forward, Audra, I want you to give us a snapshot of the conversations that are happening right now at the African Diaspora Investment Symposium. Just because the federal government under Trump is looking to divest from certain economies in Africa, it doesn't mean that there aren't other players that are looking to invest. And so we want to have the glass half full conversation when we come forward. Plus, I want to get your reaction to U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who said that no one has died due to U.S. aid cut in the continent. There are reports of a number of people there who disagree. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Adjoa, the president of the Ghana Diaspora Public Affairs Collective.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfiresupport@QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, also known as AD, a type of dementia that affects memory, thinking, and behavior, making everyday tasks challenging. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? There are things you can do to help reduce your risk for developing AD. Managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure is crucial. Staying physically active, maintaining social connections, eating a healthy diet, and keeping your mind engaged with activities like reading or puzzles can all contribute to brain health. It's also important to recognize some common signs and symptoms of early AD, such as forgetfulness that causes problems with everyday life, asking the same question a few times in a row, and difficulty concentrating on basic tasks. If you see these signs in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and a potential treatment option, visit treatalzearly.com. That's treatalzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm having a ball talking to Ajua Shermatan. She is the president of the Ghana Diaspora Public Affairs Collective. And right now she's joining me from Washington, D.C., where she's attending the African Diaspora Investment Symposium. It just started today. It'll end on May 30th. Talk to us about the history of this symposium and why it was important for you to be there today.
Well, so it's great that the symposium is expanding. I believe this year is an anniversary of ADIS. And this anniversary of ADIS is coming at an interesting time where we are looking at a very different state of play when it comes to U.S.-Africa relations, where, like we've stated, we are walking back from aid and assistance, which has really been the mantra and drumbeat of the continent in itself anyway. But I think where their concerns are is that we are also walking away from investment in the infrastructures of these countries to support sustainable development that allows for healthy economies to have productive trade deals. And that's how we need to be discussing this, is that it's not aid that was needed. It was sustainable development that allows for U.S. and American companies to exist and thrive in these countries, that allows for U.S. imports to come into these countries and furnish a lot of revenue for the United States. And so when we have a situation where we're looking at cutting what were aid programs, where now we're facing potential health crises returning to the continent, where we're looking at sicker populations that are facing deeper crises. That's less consumerism of U.S. products. Let's just put it that way. And so that seems like a short-term and short-sighted strategy by the U.S. to cut sustainable development, to not push forward with AGOA, to basically say we're going to deal with each African country in a very transactional way, singularly, and have preferred trade deals that are highly dependent on the whims or perhaps the business interests of U.S. administration officials. Right. So all of a sudden now the topic of the day that you'll probably hear a lot at ADIS and in any African diaspora investment community are critical minerals, mining. And that's not by accident. That is really based off of the personality and culture of the current administration. And so that means that we're forgetting to talk about investment in health infrastructure. We're not going to be talking about investment in finance tech, which has been a huge boon for U.S. companies, when we're now talking about, hey, let's tax remittances in a way that is anti-business, both for U.S. businesses here in this country and for the relationship between U.S. and Africa, right? So all of a sudden, we're going to ignore the evidence and the clear success that some of these sustainable development programs have had over these years to completely ignore all of that evidence and say we're going to enter into a new reality where we're only going to talk about these very specific investment opportunities that ignore the environment around it. And I just, frankly, skeptical of the long-term success of that strategy.
And it's important to know that, critical minerals, that was on the agenda when South Africa's president met with Trump, something that the Trump administration has been interested in. Also, some conversations around Elon Musk's company, his telecommunications company, Starlink, which is basically trying to get a waiver to operate in South Africa, which would go against some of the regulation that they have in place there, I think they call it the Black Empowerment regulation that they have there. And if Elon Musk is successful in getting a foothold in the South Africa, it sends a very powerful signal to the African Union, no?
I mean, that's what this whole thing is about. This sort of tactic where we're embarrassing countries like South Africa on unfounded claims is really to gain leverage in these type of negotiations. Even in the sense of Republicans on Capitol Hill who have called out Ghana, for example, regarding its IMF deal to say, hey, we want you to pay back or approach this conversation in this way is really to gain leverage regarding what is really all about is mineral procurement, on unfair terms. And so we have to think about this when African presidents feel that, okay, perhaps with this more transactional Trump administration, then somehow we can come in and really have fair deal making. I'm quite skeptical of that based off of what we're seeing thus far. And I think we have to be really cognizant of that. And that's why I feel that African governments need to diversify their approach and make sure that they are also entertaining trade deals, like I said, with other U.S. entities, whether it's, public to private, deal making with private American companies or on the state or municipal level as well. I think it's extremely important for us to make sure that we're not having these conversations where we're only looking at minerals and that we're not trying to also package these deals in a way that includes sustainable development for the people and its population. Otherwise, we're just African governments are just going to get the short end of the stick, and I just don't think that it's going to benefit America as well in any real sustainable way.
Adjoa, in our remaining minute, I want to give you an opportunity to really highlight sort of the new black tax, if you will, a tax on remittances. I don't think a lot of people have been tracking this, but the House of Representatives passed a very anti-business, anti-family bill to tax remittances at 3.5% for every transfer. For folks who are less familiar with what remittances are and how much in remittances that are pumped into the economy across the diaspora, school us in about a minute or two.
I mean, so this bill proposal, it may sound good on the face of it, but this bill is completely anti-business and flies in the face of a lot of traditional Republican values, which is very interesting about why it's being proposed. This bill has been proposed at the state level in about 30 states and have failed at every turn for a reason. And that's because what people are not considering is that your average laundromat, African market store, they all have that money transfer sign on their store face. And why is that? Because that accounts for a significant amount of foot traffic in small businesses across the country. And when you think about how many of these small businesses are run by African community leaders, a significant portion, okay? And so when we start to think about, well, what will that decreased foot traffic do, particularly already in this struggling economy? We're talking about the potential of small businesses closing. And I thought that, the Republican Party was about small businesses, because they still make up a significant portion of local economies and our national economy writ large. So really, this bill is a bad idea. It also tramples on state rights. We have never had a federal regressive tax. This tax, if it gets passed, could also be double taxation on U.S. citizens. It doesn't allow for states to control how they want commerce to move within their state. All of a sudden, they're having a federal tax being placed upon their citizens, of which we don't know how it will impact from state to state or from city to city. And it could have really serious consequences. And so really, in a lot of ways, it doesn't make sense for the federal government to be pursuing this. And it also flies in the face of innovation. I mentioned already, how much U.S. finance tech is moving the world. All of a sudden, we're saying, hey, that doesn't matter anymore. Right. Because, part of the big boom has been the facilitation of remittances. Yeah. So really, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, we're going to keep our eye on this. We're going to keep our finger on this. We want to say thank you to Adjoa Sheramaton. She is the president of the Ghana Diaspora Public Affairs Collective. We'll have to have you back again to talk about this even more. But our thanks to all of our leaders, learners, and listeners for joining us. Listen, big thanks to The Village, helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer, my brother, Andy, and to Faraji and Art, our show producers. And each and every one of you, thank you for tapping in. Remember, do what you can from where you are with what you have, but by all means, do something. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey. You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black New York City Mayor Eric Adams is rolling out a plan to teach financial literacy in all schools by 2030.
We have to learn treasury bonds and chemical bonds. We have to learn how to save, how to use our money.
Starting next school year, 15 districts will get financial educators to lead workshops and help students and families build smart money habits. Organizers of the No King